Simple diffusion, part of passive transport. In simple diffusion, molecules move directly through the phospholipid bilayer of the cell membrane without the assistance of any other molecules or proteins. This movement occurs from an area where the molecules are more concentrated, high concentration, to an area where they are less concentrated, low concentration. This process continues until there is an equilibrium, meaning the concentration of molecules is the same on both sides of the membrane. Energy requirement. No energy, ATP, is needed because the molecules are moving down their concentration gradient, which is a natural spontaneous process. Examples: small, nonpolar molecules such as oxygen, O2, and carbon dioxide, CO2, typically move across cell membranes by simple diffusion. Since these molecules are nonpolar, they can easily pass through the hydrophobic, water-repelling core of the phospholipid bilayer. Facilitated diffusion, part of passive transport. In facilitated diffusion, molecules move across the cell membrane with the help of specific transport proteins. These proteins can be either channel proteins or carrier proteins. This process also involves movement from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration, similar to simple diffusion. However, facilitated diffusion is required for molecules that cannot easily pass through the phospholipid bilayer due to their size, polarity, or charge. Energy requirement. Like simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion does not require energy, ATP, because it is also a passive process. Examples: ions like sodium, Na+, and potassium, K+, as well as larger molecules such as glucose, typically move across the cell membrane using facilitated diffusion. For instance, glucose molecules are transported into cells through a carrier protein that changes shape to move the glucose across the membrane. Active transport. Active transport is the process by which molecules move across the cell membrane from an area of lower concentration to an area of higher concentration, which is against the natural concentration gradient. To achieve this movement, cells use specific transport proteins that function as pumps. These pumps require energy to move molecules in the desired direction. Energy requirement. Active transport requires energy in the form of adenosine triphosphate, ATP. The energy from ATP is used to change the shape of the transport protein, allowing it to move the molecule across the membrane against the gradient. Examples. A classic example of active transport is the sodium-potassium pump, which is crucial for maintaining the electrochemical gradient in cells. In this process, sodium ions, Na+, are pumped out of the cell, while potassium ions, K+, are pumped into the cell, both against their concentration gradients. Overall summary of the diagram: passive transport, simple diffusion, and facilitated diffusion. Molecules move from high to low concentration without the use of energy. Active transport. Molecules move from low to high concentration with the use of energy, ATP. Cell membrane role. The cell membrane acts as a selective barrier, allowing certain molecules to pass through via these different transport mechanisms, thus regulating the internal